want to make sure really quickly that you know that this episode is brought to you by Angel Henderson State Farm Company. She is your local agent here in Houston. Give her a call if you have any questions regarding your auto insurance, homeowners, life insurance, or business, and so much more. You can actually contact Angel at 832 300 1400. Once again, the number is 832 300 1400. She is here to protect your loved ones and also your business. Give her a call today. Now let's get to the episode. All right, all right, all right. Welcome to another great episode of Elevate to Clarity, the podcast where we discuss how to overcome our obstacles and level up in our purpose. And I am your host, Latasha Sly. My guest today is a mom, beauty expert, educator, digital business mentor who turned her own season of pressure into a pathway of purpose and profit. After nearly 20 years in the beauty industry, she learned how to monetize her knowledge and experience when her back was against the wall. I'm excited about this conversation, y'all. All she needed was a new way to create income. Today, she helps women recognize the value of what they already know, package it in their story and experience, and turn it into high ticket coaching experiences. That is what we're talking about today. So, creating impact and income. Please welcome my guest, Shawanna Johnson, to the show. Hey, sis!
Hey, how exciting.
Girl, I am so excited about this conversation. And when I get started, people know like she has to be on the show for a reason. You are really, really doing great things. And
Thank
we actually met 3 years ago.
Yes.
3 years ago. And what I tell people all the time is that when God places people in your life, even at times and seasons and transitions and all the things, sometimes He will bring the right people back to you. And I thought when you reached out and I see what you have going on as a mom, building your brand, and all of the things that you're doing right now, it just makes so much sense to have you on the show. So I am grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you. I am grateful for you having me here, and I'm grateful for your patience. I feel like we met at Myron's event, right?
Yes, Florida.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, at a
In Florida at
conference.
Myron's Make More Offers Live. I think it was his first one. And so just from the day that we talked and everything, you've like always been on my mind. Like, I have to get with her. I have to get with her. And for so long, I used to turn these type of opportunities down. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I think it's because I was so like in my mom era that I was like, no, I can't do anything that takes me away because I know how these doors can open. I know what it can look like. And I was trying to like keep everything pretty controlled. But like I said, you were always on my mind. Like as soon as I get this time, we have to get together. I told her that I would do this. I try my absolute best to always honor my words. So I'm grateful for your patience with me as well.
Thank you so much. Honestly, like I've always cheered you on. If you, I've seen your posts, and I know that just supporting people when you see what they have going on. And the conversation that we had in Florida, I too had remembered that we were in the line getting our food and getting ready
Yes.
to have a seat,
Yes.
and again, it was just something about your spirit. Like I can just feel your passion. And so you were telling me about your business and the beauty and all of the things that you were doing even then. And to hear that you're expanding your brand, that's the
Yes.
part that I'm just like, you know what? This is it. This is it.
Talk about it.
So,
Yes.
so tell the listeners and myself, like, what is your why? Tell me your why.
It changes, right? So my why, so I've been a mom since I was 18. I had my son, I got pregnant my senior year of high school, and I had my son. So for the longest time, my why was just not allowing my son to become a product of his environment because to a degree I was a product of mine, right? I didn't grow up in complete poverty or anything like that, but I did grow up in the hood. I did grow up, in circumstances I didn't want him to be subjected to. So for the longest time, it was just about doing all the things to keep him away from that. Not that I was ashamed of where I come from or my family or anything, but I just feel like when you're given more, like when your horizons are expanded and you're in different places, it allows you as a person to expand. And so for the longest time, it was just mom as hard as I can. I had the one, I was like, I don't want to have no more. I'm going to mom as hard as I can with this one. And when he goes off to live his dreams and do his thing, that's when I'll be able to focus on me. So I think it's changed. So getting him to accomplish his was number one, and he's there, right? He's on his way there. Mine now is helping moms, helping women, helping Black women to understand that while we are always conditioned to have to work harder, to have to struggle, to have to be subjected to certain things, or not feel like we're good enough or adequate enough, we can actually take who we are and the hard work that we've already done and monetize that and help other people in the process of it. And so that is my biggest thing now, especially single moms, someone that has struggled. I've been single pretty much the whole 8 or 20 years of his life. So it's like I know what the struggle is. I know what raising a kid on your own looks like. I know what having $10 to your name and having to figure out what you and your kid are going to split for dinner looks like. I know what being evicted and feeling like, what if I have to live out of my car with my child looks like. And I don't ever want another single mom to deal with that if I can give them tools and resources that are available to everyone that we just didn't know existed for us.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So your son just recently made he's in college
Yes,
and he plays football. So he's an athlete.
he
So
is.
tell me this, because I'm actually I'm making that transition now. And so just a sidebar, because my son just graduated. And so how did you prepare for that? Like even as a single mom, I'm married, but even as a mother as a whole, you just see your baby and you have to release him. How did that transition? How did you take care of that? Like, how did you deal with the emotions?
Oh, girl. So I will say what I do appreciate is that because he does play football, he didn't go straight to a university. He went to a junior college first. And with a junior college, you have to be way more involved. So I had to go with him, get him an apartment. We had to explore, figure out where he was going to live and all those things. But what I loved is he kind of had a brotherhood that he was able to walk into. You know what I mean? And so that made me feel good. The coach is telling me from the beginning, like, when the coach picked us up from the airport the night we flew in, he said, just listening to you and him talk and how you interact, I can see you're very close. And he was like, my son's like, yeah, my mom's my best friend, and he's like, but I want you to know that like we have him too. And so a lot of prayer and a lot of just asking God to put him in an environment around people who will protect him and who show who they really are. You know what I mean? And I would help him to grow and to elevate as a man because I was a single mom raising a man. And so his coaches and has always played kind of a father role in his life. His football brothers, his track brothers, his basketball brothers have always been those extra siblings since he was an only child. So I've always pushed on him, find your people and connect with your people and use those people. You don't have to have a million friends. You just need a few core people that you can really connect with and that you can go, navigate through this next stage with. And so I just had to pray about it and release it and know in my heart that God had him covered because otherwise I would have been a nervous wreck every day. Every day, girl.
Yes,
Every
because well, I was like, when I would just up until graduation, I would just look at him and I would bawl. I was like,
Yes,
oh my God, this is almost
yes,
over because he
me
was so
too.
tiny. He was a preemie. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Like, when I tell you, because I didn't have family where in Houston when my husband and I got married, and then we had him. And my mother's deceased. His mother was in Detroit. And I was just like, I have to protect him. And I've been like,
Right?
I'm a mama bear to my core, and to
Mhm.
see him come so far, I'm just so proud. But I just cry because now I have to trust that I have done well, and but at the same time trust him with other people in this world, because we know, they don't treat our African American boys well sometimes. But again, prayer, I do trust that God has
Yes.
them 110% for sure.
Prayer and I think structure. I'm not a gentle parent by any means. People look at the girliness and the makeup and all the things and they're like, "Oh, you're soft." And I'm like, "No, it was my job to equip him with the tools he needed to navigate in the world. I can't control him. He can only control himself, but I had to have confidence at that time that you know how to articulate yourself, you know how to carry yourself, you know when to fight battles and when not to fight battles. You know what I mean? And then I had to trust that what I instilled in him was enough when he went to college. And so I knew that it was going to give him life experiences. I was so ready for him to have that and to have his own independence because we were very close. The first time me and my son had ever been away from each other for a full week is when he went to college in his life. So it was like It was so hard when he first went. Every day, every like milestone that made it more like concrete that he was going to be staying there, my son broke down crying.
Oh,
Like we get there and we're good, and the first day he cries and he's like, "We're here. Like I have to stay here." And I'm like, "Yeah." So then we go look for apartments, and then finally after a couple of days we find an apartment. Girl, we sign the lease, go in his apartment, sit down, and I'm like, "Oh my God." I look up and he's crying, and he's like, "Mom, I don't think I want to do this. Like, can we just cancel the lease and I go back home? I'll find a school closer to home to, go play college ball there. And I'm not ready for this." I said, "You are. And the money's been paid.
so you're
So you
staying.
staying." So that whole like I was there for like 9 days, 10 days. So the whole time I was there, I held it in. It was the airport, girl, when I was coming back home. The lady, when I go to check in, the lady goes, "So how many people are catching this flight?" And I'm like, "Just me." And I just break down crying because I'm like, "You're really not coming home with me. We've never traveled separate of each other. Like, I have to trust that you're going to be okay, and I have to get rid of the noise, like not allow that to consume me because we hear horror stories every day and you hear so many, I never thought it would be me. I never thought it would be me." And so I think I've never prayed so hard, just to
Yeah.
make sure it was okay. But you know what I will say?
Hmm.
I had more peace when he went to college than I did when he was at home.
Really?
It is so crazy because when he was home, if he would go with his friends, like the area that we lived in Chandler, Arizona, all of his friends lived in close proximity. So if he would go hang out with his friends or whatever, every time I would hear like an ambulance drive by the house, a fire truck drive by the house, and I knew my son was out or he was driving or something like that, I'm always like, "Where are you? Are you safe? Are you okay?" I hear a helicopter outside. I'm like, "What's going on? Text me, let me know you're in the house." I'm getting chills talking about it. But when he went to college, I didn't feel that anymore. I just felt like he was okay and that was it. And I mean, he
Mm,
went through some things. He's like, "Mom, it was some sketchy stuff." He was in Fresno. He was like, "There was some things that would have had you ready to fly me home if you knew." He said, "But as a man, like I knew how to navigate those things."
yeah.
So it
Good.
gave me peace to sleep at night knowing that he was good. I wasn't as paranoid. When they're this age, we don't go to sleep at night until they come home. Even if we allow them to go out, if they come home 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, we're still up. When he
Yep.
was, I couldn't every day. Like, are you home? Sometimes he would get done with practice and be so tired and just go to sleep. You know what I mean? And so I don't hear from him that night. So again, I think that was the biggest test of my faith ever. And like, do I trust God to trust him because he's here, he's his before he's mine, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Absolutely. Well, thank you
yeah.
for sharing that. Yeah, because I'm like, okay, well now I have you on. I'm like, okay, sis, I need some encouragement.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
do know 100%. I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah, because we have to have the faith that God is going to keep them covered in all things every single day. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that with me. So let's pivot.
Mhm.
Have you always wanted to go into business? Have you always wanted to start a business? Because you said you had your son early, you were 18. And so when did that bug start for you to be an entrepreneur?
As a child.
Okay, okay.
So I grew up with an entrepreneur. My mom was also a single mom, but she was always an entrepreneur. She does hair and she's done hair my entire life since she was like 18 years old. And she had me at 18 as well. So my whole life. So I seen the freedom that came with that. And that's what I wanted to experience. Also, I'm an Aquarius. I'm a little hard-headed. I don't like to listen to people. So I'm like, I have to do something that's going to give me that freedom. So I started working when I was really young. I think I got my first job when I was like 12. Probably not legal, but here I was working at a daycare after school and I worked and got all these different jobs. But my mom, because she was always in the salon, couldn't always be present for certain things. So she would just pop up and be like, "We're going to Magic Mountain for the weekend. We're going, to LA for the weekend." We're just randomly. And so I would ask my wherever I'm working, I would be like, "Can I get the weekend off to go out of town with my mom?" And it would be like, "No." "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "But my mom's taking me to Magic Mountain." Again, I'm a kid, right? And they're like, "Yeah, no, you can't." And I would be like, "Okay, well, I quit. Like, I'll find another job when I get back home." Because I'm not missing out on Magic Mountain. I'm sorry.
Right,
I'm
right,
just
right.
like, no. And so that was me. I would quit and then I would go do whatever I wanted to do. And then I would come back home and I would get another job. And so I always knew to some degree I had to be some level of an entrepreneur. But I didn't like hair. Um, I think I had a little bit of resentment toward the beauty industry because I felt like it was the thing that took my mom away from being present for the things that were important to me, such as sports. She couldn't show up on Saturdays when I cheered, when I danced, because she was in the salon. And I was like, I don't want to be in that industry because I don't want my son to feel toward me what I felt toward her, frustration wise. And it was resentment that I held on to for a very long time. Because as a kid, it's like when the game is over, everybody's leaving with their parents. And I'm like gathering up my brothers to go walk to grandma's house. And I'm like, they could just be going home, but in my mind, every weekend they were going to Disneyland. They were going out to get ice cream. They were going to the movies. They were going to do these things, and their parents are in the stands cheering them on. And it was so important to me, which is also why I never missed any of my son's games in his life, because I was like, I don't want him to feel that either. And she understands now more than she understood then because she was raising three of us, and so she just did what she could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I say all of that to say, I always knew I wanted the freedom to be able to be present, both for my son and for my life. And I didn't feel like a job could give me that.
Yeah,
So
totally understand. So your mom did hair, but you still ended up starting a beauty product line, though, right?
I did. So first I got into makeup. So I started working at Mac when I was 19. I didn't even know that I liked makeup. I never wore it, funny enough. And she bought me a gift card to Macy's when I was 18. I think I was 18 right when I had my son. And it's funny because she didn't wear makeup either. And so she buys me this gift card, and when I open it, I'm like, "Oh, a Macy's gift card." And she's like, "No, this is for makeup for you to go to Mac." And I was like, "Why would I go buy makeup?" And she's like, "Because you're someone's mom and you need to look like it." And I was like, "You don't even wear makeup." So I go into Mac, I get my makeup done for the first time ever. I absolutely loved it, and that was my art. I always like to paint, I like to color, I like to draw. I love artsy things. I just didn't realize the correlation between that and makeup. So when she did it and I saw her blending the eyeshadows and that type of stuff, I was like, this is fun. So girl, I went to like CVS or something after and bought all the eyeshadows Maybelline had to offer. Girl, that was where I was at. I spent my little gift card at Macy's. I'm like still new mom. I had just had my son. I'm like, let me go to Walmart. I bought a bunch of drugstore stuff and I just started playing around with it. And it was a path, but 9 months later, I started working at Mac as an artist. So that's how I got
Whoa.
into the industry. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I was like, did you either go back and start and ask for a job? Because most people go into like Mary Kay or something like that to actually start that like whole independent thing. So do
Mhm.
you feel like it was saturated back? Well, back then, probably not. So, like, how, I mean, how long were you with Mac?
6 years, I believe.
Six?
So this is my belief. It's not like it ain't my business to worry about things that I have no control over. Like, why? It's just going to stress me out. I already have enough stuff in life to stress out about. So, if I want something, I believe that it's mine. So, I wanted to work at Mac from the day that I got my makeup done. I was very clear on that. But I had no makeup experience, right? And this is like a prestigious company. This is number two in the world. This is back in like 2006, right? So, I ended up talking to the manager there, and the manager was like, "We're not hiring." Oh, wait. First of all, I was working as a substitute at different schools at the time because I had my son, and so I was able to take a couple different shifts a week, to be able to go work at schools. One of the teachers did talk me into Mary Kay. So she talked me into
Hmm.
Mary Kay and she was like, I feel like you just have such a good personality. Like you can do so good with this. And so I'm like, okay, I pay all the money. I get all excited about it. Girl, I buy the kit. I buy all the things. Again, I had never really done makeup, but I'm like, I could talk to people about skincare and just the beauty industry and beauty products, period. Like this will be easy. As long as I know what I'm talking about, I'm good, right? So I set up this Mary Kay party like she tells me to do. I go have my mom go buy all this wine because I'm not even 21 yet, right? And so my mom buys it. We decorate the house. We invite all the women in this neighborhood. We were in Temecula, California at the time. We invite all these women and I'm so excited. I print out all these flyers. I'm passing them out at the mall, at the grocery store. Like, I'm like, this is gonna do great. No one came. Not
Mm.
one person. And when that happened, I was like, wrap it up. I'm done. This is not for me. This was just something that she sold me into. Like, I don't think so. So I didn't really go anywhere with it. And shortly after that, the Mac thing came. And when I got the job, it was a conflict of interest. So I couldn't do it anymore anyway. But going back to how it all happened, I wanted to work at Mac. The manager told me, we're not accepting applications at this time. And I said, well, that's perfectly fine. I know I want to get into this industry and I'll be patient because I know that like I'll get it once I want it. Is what my thoughts were, right? So I go apply at Macy's just to work at any of the makeup counters, right? I get a job interview. This is God, right? I get an interview. I'm in the interview. And as I'm sitting there, going through the process, I get a phone call from an unknown number, but with the Temecula 951 area code. In my mind, I knew it was the manager at Mac. I don't know why, but I just knew. So I'm like, can I go to the bathroom really quick? The lady's like, yeah, sure. So I leave out of Macy's and take off running because it was two different Macy's in the mall. So I like
Yeah.
run to the other Macy's and I'm like, I run up to the counter and I'm like, did you just call me? And the manager's like, yeah, actually. She said, like I told you, we're done taking applications. She was like, but something about your personality, like maybe want to invite you in anyway. And I'm
Mm.
like, okay. And she's like, this isn't going to be easy. There are over 300 applicants and we have one position.
Girl, you
And I
just
was
gave me
like,
chills.
let's
Oh,
do
you just
this.
chills.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, let's do this. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, but let's do this. So it took 3 interviews in probably 3 to 4 months. But I never went back to that Clinique interview because I was like, I know I got this job at Mac and I have another way that I'm making money in the meantime. I'm going to be patient because I'm going to get this job. And when I tell you, every interview was more and more intimidating. One of the interviews, we had to go to this Mac training center in Orange County, California. We had to, and when we walk in, we had to bring a model with us. Everybody is walking in with their Mac attire and their big floppy hats, and you know what I mean, looking like makeup girl stilettos. And I'm like, probably in some flats or some sandals, and I got on my all black, and I'm cute, but I don't have no Mac, I don't have no
Yeah.
set. So she had us basically do makeup on our model and she gave us different looks. I knew nothing about MAC products. I knew nothing about an NC or an NW or a nothing, but I was visual because I was an artist, right? So I
Mhm.
just looked at the picture and found the colors that looked like it would achieve what was in the picture.
Mhm.
Got the position. Like it was like 10 of us in there. Everybody was more equipped, right? But I still had the confidence. Like I'm gonna just do what I can do. I'm gonna have fun. I brought one of the other girls that worked at Macy's that was working at the counter that I was interviewing with. Didn't really know her, but I'm like, girl, let's come do it. I'm gonna do your makeup for free. Like this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna take you to lunch after. I had no clue how. I just knew there was a reason, and that's all that I need
Yeah.
is an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like that first step is enough for me to know that it's possible for me, period.
Love it, but your belief, that was the thing that got me. And that's a part of a lot that people don't understand, even with just women in general, that you have what you think and how what you speak over yourself and
Yeah.
what it matters because
Yes.
you actually just knew I'm going to work here and I'm going to do whatever it takes. If it take you 3 months, okay, I know it's going to happen. And when you speak life and you speak positive things over yourself, it will happen. You just got to have faith of just a mustard seed, right?
And
And
you
to
can't
hear that, you
waver.
just gave me chills, girl, like for real.
And you can't waver is what I've learned because through that process, even my mom would be like, Shawanna, you're driving to Orange County again for an interview. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, they're not giving you gas money. There's no guarantee that you're going to get this job. Like, she, out of fear, she didn't want me to get my hopes up and get my hopes crushed because she saw how much I was putting into this. She saw that, I'm paying a babysitter to keep my son for hours so that I can drive to Orange County for this interview with no return on my investment per se, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm like, it's okay, mom. I got this. Like, I got this. And when I did that last interview, I just knew that it was mine. But at any moment, if I let anybody who knew I was going through the process and their thoughts around it stop me, I would have never gotten a position. I would have been like, you're right. I'm not going to spend any more gas money. I'm not going to spend any more of my time. I don't even have the experience. Like I could have allowed all those things that I don't even do makeup. The first time I ever did makeup, like a full face on a person, was my first day of work. I feel
What's
like
for you is for you though, girl.
yes.
Okay, and even as a parent, we can say this: we want to protect our kids. So, and I'm very, very cognizant of what I say and what I speak over my boys. So it's like if she wants, in her mind, I'm protecting you from this. I don't want you to get your hopes up and it doesn't happen because you're literally, like you said, you're investing your time and gas and all of the things. And from her perspective, is like, no, I don't want you to have to go through that. But you're like, no, this is me, this is mine. And God was like, okay, she spoke it and she's still believing, and we're going to make this work. But yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the thing about our friends and family. So we have to be careful of who we share our dreams with, our projects with, and all of the things, because they're honestly, they don't look at it as a negative. They're trying
Right.
to protect us, right?
Yeah.
She just wanted the very best for her baby girl, because she just had her son. And so she don't want you crying at night when it didn't happen, but you in your mind is like, no, this is happening.
This is happening. Happening, and I believe that in plan A, you can still find your plan B. I don't believe that there's a thing as having a plan B. So it's like, in my mind and the way that I think, it's like even if I went through this experience and it didn't work out, it may equip me better for Mary Kay if that's what my thing was supposed to be. Or maybe that means, okay, I'm not there quite yet, but I've already made an impression. So let me go work at Clinique or Estee Lauder or whatever company they put me at within Macy's, because now I can develop myself more as an athlete. I mean, as an athlete, look, my son, as a makeup artist, as a salesperson, and then I can go back when the time is right, right? It was never about, oh, this isn't for me. And so that would have been my plan B to go back to the plan A. And it's how I raised my son and why I believe he is where he is now. He told me when he was 3 he wanted to play football. There
Mm.
was never no, oh God, but you could get hurt and you can this and you can, okay, cool. If you're gonna play football, I'm gonna make you the best athlete you are. We're gonna get you trained. We're going to get you in track so you can be a trained runner. We're going to do everything that we can to best equip you, because that's what I believe. When God plants those seeds in us and we're passionate about something and we can't stop thinking about it, or we're young enough to be interested in something we don't even know much about, that
Yeah.
can't be of us. That has to be of God, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I feel like when you nurture that, that's when you find true peace and true happiness and true purpose in what it is
Yes.
that you're supposed to be doing.
Have you read my book, girl?
Oh, I
Absolutely, what
it.
I said. And it's so funny because I truly have believed, even as a kid, since I was, I mean, because I lost my mother when I was 12, right? And she was only 29.
Wow.
But
Wow.
even as a kid, this is why I actually watch what I say, even to people when I pray for people, because God has always, I can say 98, 99% of the time, when I speak over someone or something, and it happens. But the thing about this, what I've always said is, even as someone, as a parent, we have to understand whatever that child says over their life and that they want, it is your responsibility to feed that, water that, because it's God gave him the vision. God gave her that idea. So it's up to us to make sure that we feed it, we water it, we put the sunlight on it, meaning put them in the right positions, put them in the right locations, find the right network, because you never know what is going to happen when you do that. But instead, we talk them out of it. We think about our finances and all of the things. And I'm going to tell you this story. I've never told anybody this on my podcast. I actually went to my dad, and I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, because I went to school for communications, radio, television, right? But that was before that. As a kid, Bill Cosby was doing an audition, and so it was this huge thing. So my dad took me to the audition, because I was like, I begged and begged and begged him, number one, and I was like, I really want to go to this audition and yada yada. So he was like, okay, we're gonna go. So he took me to this audition, drove me there. The lady comes out, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And she said, "Oh, you have headshots." And he says, and I said, "No." And he says, "No." He said, "No worries, right?" She says, "Well, we can do the headshots for her today." And he said, "Well, how much are these headshots?" And I think she may have said maybe $175, $250. Now, mind you, this is back in the day. And my dad, young parent, he was just like, I can't afford that. I don't have the money. And I sat there in my disappointment, but I didn't try not to share it to him. But I
Right.
was so disappointed, right? But the thing about it is, never left me. I've enjoyed entertainment and all those. So I went to school for radio television, but
Mhm.
that type of thing, had he to actually saw what I saw and felt what I felt, who knew? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I say that, but everything comes full circle. But I think that's the reason why I have a podcast, and
Yes.
all of the people that gravitate to me, which a lot of them are entertainers. But I say all of this is that because we have to make sure that we're paying attention to the things our children say, and
Yes.
then you feed that
Mhm.
because God will direct it. The whole
Yes.
thing. The whole
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. And I told my mom too, like when I had to just release, like I said, any level of resentment that I had, I said, I think the hardest part when I used to tell you as a kid, like, I really want you to come to my games. I really want you to come watch me cheer. You didn't hear me because you grew up as a kid that felt like you weren't heard for whatever reason, whether it be, that you were shy or you were introverted and you didn't really know how to speak your mind or what. But because you felt like in some level of your life you weren't heard, you didn't know how to hear me when I expressed those things to you. And so, again, when it came to my son and he said it, I'm a persistent person. So at 3, when he told me he wanted to play football, I'm like, let me find a football team for you. And so I'm calling around and I finally talked to somebody out of YMCA and he's like, I would love to have him, but he's 3. Like they have to be at least 5. And I said, he's 3, but I'm telling you, he already understands the game of football. And he's like, okay, I'm going to give you one opportunity. If you bring him to practice today and I can see that he is mature enough to understand the game, I'll let him play. No problem. Took him, girl, the first ever play. The man blows the whistle. My son takes off running when he sees the kid with the ball, jumps, girl, and tackles the kid. And I'm on the sideline. I'm like, son, it's flag. And he's like, sorry. And the kid like gets up, girl. The kid is like, he starts crying. And I'm like, babe, you have to pull the flag. You can't tackle here. And he's like, sorry, mom. And the coach is like, he's on the team.
Sold.
Oh, he's here. He got it. I see he got it. And so he did it at 3. And again, not without the enemy trying to come in at so many different levels to stop us, or people in their naysay. You're going to put them in football. They get hurt in football. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? I'm like, what if it doesn't? What if you walk outside and get hit by a car? What if you live your life based on what ifs, you will never live your life. And
Yeah.
so again, I had to have faith that he would be okay. And he got hurt once, and that was his junior year of high school. Since the age of 3,
Uh,
playing, he started playing tackle football at 5. So tackle, equipment on, all the things. Running back, wide receiver, no injuries because we never spoke to that. You know what I mean? I believe that that's a big part of it. And granted, God still has his plan. If it was destined for him to get hurt at a different level than he would have, I thank God that he did protect him. That was always a prayer of protection that I put over him to keep him going and what he was passionate about because guess what? It kept him out the streets. It kept him out of jail. It kept him out of trouble. He hasn't been in any trouble. He graduated high school, didn't have the ideal grade point average because he was so discouraged when he got hurt. But then he went to college, got his first degree in a year and a half, made the honor roll, and put himself in a position to go where he needs to go. He learned from those mistakes, but that's all just, again, having faith through the process. There's so many times where I could have been like, you know what, son, maybe this isn't right. Or he could have been like, you know what, mom, this isn't right. But at every turn, my son has said, Mom, if God destined for this to happen, there's a reason behind it. If God didn't open up the door for me to go D1 right out of high school, as there were coaches flying in from all over the country to come see me, and I have to go to a junior college, so be it. I'm like, except for the pay out of pocket part, because that part, I don't like it. But to have faith that still the resources are going to be available. It's all going to happen. And even then, girl, his apartment was robbed. Someone stole all of his stuff. Like there was so many things that tried to stop him and tried to stop this from happening. And now 2% of athletes go D1.
yeah.
Sitting in that. He's in it right now. So
Yes.
I'm like, I thank you, God, that even when I didn't understand what you were doing, or even when I had disbelief, because I would lie to say I've always just been like a God girl. Yes. No. When I'm evicted, when my baby is hurt and I have to close my beauty business and I don't know how we're going to keep a roof over our head and I'm sitting in my closet crying every day, I'm like, God, why would you do this to us? Like, he has
Mhm.
to have surgery. He can't walk for 5 months. I can't go back to work for 5 months because he's still a minor and I still have to take him to doctor's appointments and this and that. Like, God, how do you feel like I can handle all of this on my own? Why? And so
Mhm.
there are times that my faith has wavered, but ultimately I go back to God, I put the heaviness of this all on you because I'm one person and it's crushing me. And every time I at least felt some peace to be able to get me out of that. And that's what I've always tried to instill in him. Take on the peace until it opens up more and more. And the more you invite him in, the more peace you start to feel around the thing. And the more it opens up a path for you to run right through it and continue to do what you're supposed to do.
Yes, ma'am. That part, the peace. Yes, give me peace in it because he wants perfect peace. He actually even it's in the word. He wants you to have perfect peace. And when you actually settle, and you know what? God never said life is going to be easy. He didn't never
Right.
said that we're not going to go through trials and tribulations. He went through trials and tribulations. He went through the wilderness, right? So
Right.
that's another thing that I always talk about because people don't understand that pruning is necessary because
Right.
it keeps us stronger. If he gave you everything that you wanted, if he made sure that every time you pray for something, it just happened and it happened the way you wanted, you will never give him credit. You will never be able to say, God, thank you, right? So at
Right.
some point, he wants to make sure you still got to come and lean on me. So yeah, it may have been hard, but yet he knew that you were still going to come back because you're his child.
Absolutely.
You know
And
what I mean?
also, like, in addition to giving him credit, like, if it comes from God, it's something that I believe we're supposed to keep, right? So, not only if he gave us everything that we wanted, but we weren't built for it yet, we wouldn't be able to sustain it. And so, that is a conversation that I have in business all the time. If someone comes to me and are like, you never sent me a confirmation text. Now, if I have 1,000 clients coming at me at one time and I didn't realize I needed to send out a confirmation text, now I have 1,000 people mad at me. But I have three people, five people telling me, hey, I didn't get this from you. Hey, I needed aftercare. Hey, I needed this. I'm like, okay, let me turn this into a process for myself or a system for my business so that I can make sure it doesn't happen again. And as I continue to build on these blocks of things that makes me stronger as a business owner and makes my business stronger in itself, now I can handle more people. Because now automatically you're going to get an email with the things that I know you need before you even need them. And as I continue to grow and progress and pick up more business, I'm going to get more feedback from people and I'm going to continue to improve. But it's those moments where people come out and say, hey, I didn't get this. You didn't do this. You didn't say this, where I just have to like apologize for it, right? And fix it so it doesn't happen again. But if I just ask God for overflow, this is how so many people lose their businesses because you get such an influx of people that you don't know how to handle. And
Yeah.
now you do bad business. Now your reputation is gone. Now nobody wants to deal with you anymore. And now you have chargebacks. So now your merchants don't want to work with you anymore. Like it's a chain reaction of things that come from not being prepared. So it's all the wilderness that allowed me to have the preparation for where I've been and where I'm going.
Yes. So transition again. So I
Okay.
know that you did the beauty, you did your makeup. You said you were there for and I think I heard you say 6 years.
Okay.
So now though, you have decided to pivot again and
Yes.
you're helping women build sell digital products, right? So
Correct.
tell me how does that work and what does that look like as far as like, starting up and all of the things.
Okay. So the one contingency, the one thing for me when I got into the beauty industry, I always wanted something that was going to allow me to still have freedom to show up for my son, right? For the longest time, it was just lack of income because I wasn't going to work on a Saturday if he had a football game. So that means I just lost the money, right? Sorry, during the pandemic, my business was shut down completely. And during that time, I was so busy with clients that I couldn't help people who were asking me for help. I had moved to another state. I had lost everything. I rebuilt myself, and people seen that on social media. So then people would come to me like, well, how did you do this? And how did you do that? And I didn't really have the time to answer those questions because between football, basketball, track, and a business, two businesses, because at that point I had already launched my cosmetic line and I had a salon. I couldn't. So when I had no choice but just to sit down, my assistant is like, we were talking, and I'm like, I need to brainstorm on some ways that I can keep everything afloat and even keep you guys on the payroll because my income has stopped as of today, my only source of income, because the makeup I wasn't pushing it as much. My
So
services
you
kept me
so
busy.
you did go into hair?
No, so I went into from makeup, I went into permanent makeup. So
Okay.
I went into tattooing. I got 26 certifications. So tattooing, brows, I did eyeliner, areolas, like a whole lot of different ones. But I mainly just did brows, like ombre brows, microblading, those types of things.
Okay.
And that is where my business really blew up. And it gave me the space to like open up a studio suite and bring in clients. So as it started to grow, I mean, it went from, like I said, an eviction one year to a very strong business just a year later. And so people were like, how are you going from not having 5 clients a month to 5 clients a day, with these services? And so that's what I told my assistant. I said, you know what? Let's start looking for some of these questions that people are asking me, and I'll start creating content, answering those questions for them now that I have the time and I'm sitting at home. And that's what I started to do. I started a YouTube channel and I started doing trainings and like videos and stuff like that, answering some of those questions. And then people started coming to me like, well, can you help me with this? So I would get on calls and I would spend the time and talk to them over and over again and answer the same questions over and over again. Then eventually I'm like, well, can we put this into some type of product that I can give them so they can just have the answers? Because I feel like I'm answering the same redundant questions over and over again. So our first digital product was a Google Doc. So I started selling a Google Doc on my beauty business website. And when people bought it, we emailed them the Google Doc and it would answer how to build a 6-figure brow business, basically. So that was the foundation of it. And then from there, people wanted more and more. Okay, this is great, but can we get on a coaching call? Okay, this is great, but I need a little bit more help. So then I was able to take it from a $17 digital product to a $10,000 coaching program over the next like 2, 3 years.
What?
Yeah.
So you telling me, because I'm like, as a mom, because I actually saw your post, one of your posts, and you said that that people feel because they lack the starting part because they do too much research, right? And
Mhm.
so and they doing all of the research, doing all of the things instead of just getting started.
Yes.
So if I'm a mom and I say, you know what, my out of pocket cost, because one of your posts said $10,000, I'm like, how can I make $10,000? So you making that kind of money a month?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't shy away from the conversation.
I mean, it's not hard to make $10,000 a month. That's not a lot of money at all.
Right. But
Um,
for some people it is. Some
it
people
is.
don't
Yeah,
understand
you're
that
right.
when I hear big numbers like that in one month, let alone, having a 6-figure month or 6-figure day, right? But and the reality is some people in well, I don't know because I'm a '70s baby. Some people in my generation they can't fathom, they don't understand, they can't wrap their head around the type of money that digital products is making, that these young people are making. So when you hear a number like that, it can be intimidating. It can be questionable, like you're not making this kind of money, right? So how does someone actually say, you know what, they get started in this particular area? How are you helping them?
So before that, I want to say that the amount of money that we make, like we tie it to an adequacy thing. We feel and we feel like, am I adequate enough to like be able to actually do this? Like the belief is the hardest part, right? Also, I find that we question our own ability to be able to teach somebody something else when it's like it doesn't matter what you've mastered. I learned how to cook going on Google because my mom didn't cook. She was busy. She was in the salon all the time. Going on Google. So I learned how to cook quick meals so that when my son was at football practice and we came home, he had a meal. And I learned as I went along. I could have turned that into a cookbook to show people how to make quick meals for their kids or quick meals for their athletes. It's very simple. And because a lot of times we tie money to hours and time, like if you work at a traditional job and you make $15 an hour, you feel like that's the cap or $25 an hour or whatever. But what people fail to realize is you sell one $25 digital product 100 times, which can be done in that hour, and that's $2,500 you've now made in that same hour. So
Yeah.
we have to disconnect our feeling like money is connected to time because it's not. Another thing I've realized is we have to regulate our nervous system and just how we feel energetically around making money, attracting money, and charging, right? When before the pandemic, I was giving everybody a discount. I was like the Oprah Winfrey of ombre brows. Like, you get a discount, you get a discount. Exactly. And it was because my own thing. Like questioning myself, am I good enough for this? Can I charge people this amount of money? So I would tell people like, oh, my brows are, $600. And at the moment that I felt any hesitation, oh, but I'll give you $100 off. I'll give you $200 off. It was like whatever sounded good because part of it was desperation because I was still in survival mode, right? And part of it was this was my only source of income, right? So if you don't book the appointment, now I don't know how I'm going to continue, how to keep going on. Or and I got to the point where I was taking so many people at such a discounted rate that I was just exhausted at the end of every day. I made the money, it was great. Because again, it's not hard, especially when you're charging $450 for a service.
Mhm.
But I was tired, right? So when I started selling digital products in those months during the pandemic and it turned into coaching, that gave me the space that I had always been looking for. So
Mhm.
now I can come back and say, I charge $650 for brows. And people are like, what? And I'm like, basically take it or leave it. Not in that way, but I'd never again said, oh, well, I'll give you this. I'll give you, it's like, okay, well, this is what the price is. I remember one time, it was early in the year, maybe February, and someone is like, well, are you guys going to offer discounts anytime soon? And I was like, maybe during the holidays. And she was like, the holidays? It's February. I'm like, I have a wait list of people who want to get in now at this higher price point.
Yeah.
And while I'm telling myself that I'm doing a good thing, giving everybody a discount for this service, when I opened up my own belief, right, and started charging more money, I attracted a different client. I attracted a client that took the services that I provided more seriously. I was able to have space in my day because now I'm making more money with less people. So now I don't have to take on 5 appointments in a day. I can take on three, still make the same amount of money, and go have lunch. Because
Yeah.
Lord knows in the beauty industry, we don't even eat half of the time. You know what I mean? And so it gave me that space to offer a different luxury service, a different level of business, and a different piece as a service provider. Because now I'm not on a hamster wheel. Now I'm not, this client is showing up and this person is in the lobby waiting. And this, no, I could stretch my appointments out more and I could just show up differently. But I had to believe that. And like I said, digital products gave me that space.
So when you think about a digital product, because I know it's like, okay, you create the digital product. Is it something to where you have, okay, so like for me, I have what I created it's like a freebie, right? So it's my a clarity journal that I do that's tied to my book and I give people things. And so do you have to go and do a Shopify store? You got to do this payment system. It becomes this whole thing like, or do you just say, hey, here's this template, go make money?
It depends on how manual you want to be with it and how automated you want it to be. I want to be one like 90% automated in my business
Mhm.
because everything doesn't require me. We think a lot of time in business we're the prize. Like
Yeah.
even if it's subconscious, right? We feel like I got to be the end all be all. I got to be the one in control. I don't. I don't want to be in control. I'm the queen of delegation, right? So right now, the store that just ended 12, I posted a couple, I posted on my story that it ended at $12,000 for this month. That's just one store with an offer that I'm like testing right now. And so, um, what I'm doing right now is posting social media content around the offer. People are responding to the offer, right? In my comments, there's an automation that sends them the link to my offer, and then they purchase the offer. So some people are purchasing it right away. Some people I have to do a little bit more nurturing with because they don't know me yet. These are complete strangers. I think I got like 1,300 followers in the last 30 days just off of a couple of posts this month that were all done with AI. It's not even me.
I was looking at that. I was like, this girl, she, and one of your posts, she was a little thicker. I was just like, is that her? And then you
No,
had the little mic. I said, okay, so she's using AI.
most of
The
it is
browse is
AI.
perfect, but she definitely, I was like, that's not her.
When you really pay attention to it, you can tell,
Yeah.
especially if I'm talking a lot. But if it's just me, movement, something like that, a lot of times people can't tell the difference. And it looks like me, right? And that's what I love because it gives me the space to show up for people now. So if I'm scheduling all of my content to go out, I know every day that the content is going out. So now I get to spend my time and my energy actually nurturing the people who are interested in my offer versus create the content, edit, record the videos, sit down, cut this and that. Like I can't do all of those. It's a lot of juggling going on, right? So I just tell AI what I want it to do, what I want it to look like. I put a hook over it, I put the caption to it, I let that run itself, and then I show up for the parts that require Shawanna.
All that from chat, GPT.
Not just ChatGPT, but that's a big part of it, yeah.
Do you
That's a
use
big part.
Claude at all?
Not really. I use Claude for like sales pages and stuff like that, but I don't really use it for back and forth content. I was a part of the beta testing for ChatGPT before it was available to the public. I'm like really techie. And so my ChatGPT knows me like the back of my hand. Like it knows me very, very well.
Oh wow. So when I noticed that you have a $37 offer
Mhm.
for it, right? So what all does what all do they get for the $37? Because I know you have like you have a list of 7 things that people can just start up today. I did see that. You was like, hey, these are the 7 things that you can do today for $37 or whatever it is. And so what you're saying is follow these steps and you'll be able to come out saying this is how much money you make. How did you tell me more?
Absolutely. So, okay. If you think about like building out like a funnel from a small ticket price thing, think about it like your whole business like a restaurant, right? So you walk into a restaurant and they have you sign in and put your information, right? They're taking your information down, they're putting it in a system, right? Then you go over to the table, right? And then the person brings you the menu. Do you want any water? Do you want, some juice or not juice? Do you want bread? I'm going to bring you all these things over. That's your freebie, right? So there now you're sitting down and now you're looking at the menu. The appetizer can be that $37 product. So you're taking it from that freebie to now that appetizer, right? The appetizer is
Mhm.
going to be a small piece of what you're going to get, but it's not the full entree. From there, you can create another program that is the entree that is going to complement the $37 product that the person just had. And I'm saying all of this just to make it in real time versus here's what you get so
Yeah,
that it makes sense, right?
yeah,
So then you get the $37 product. Then a person comes and they're like, okay, then they come back and they're like, okay, what do you want? Here are the entrees you get. That's the full meal. That is your course, right? That is the bigger explanation because in that $37 product, you don't want to give them A to Z. You want to give them like A to B. Give them enough information where they feel like they can achieve what it is that you're going to be teaching them. Because if you give them A to Z, they're going to feel like, number one, I don't need you to teach me anything else because you already gave me everything.
yeah.
Or they're going to feel like this is so much and it's so overwhelming that I can't do any of it at all. And they don't do anything.
Right. So teach the what, not the how.
You teach the what and a little bit of the how.
Yeah.
You teach
Okay.
the what in your freebie. You teach a little bit of the how in your $37 product, but you're teaching a little bit of the how. So again, if I'm teaching you how to, I'm trying to think of something that is like elaborate, right? If I'm teaching you how to make a t-shirt from scratch, right? I'm not going to be like, okay, here's how you get the fabric, and this is how you sew the fabric together, and then this is how you use the sewing machine, and then this is how I might say, grab the t-shirt that's already done, grab this logo or emblem from Walmart, go iron it on. This is how you measure it to make sure that it's in the right place on the t-shirt, and then shred it a little bit, and now you have a distressed t-shirt. That's it. That's all that I'm teaching you. If I would have taught you all those steps and you had to go get ironing board to make sure it was perfectly ironed and in a sewing machine and a thread count and all those things, you're going to be like, this is going to take me a year. I have no interest. But
Yeah.
if I say, go to Walmart, buy this t-shirt, or go on Amazon, order this t-shirt, order this um iron on logo to go with it, get it, put it in, lay it on your t-shirt, on your table like this, and then iron it on here. Make sure your iron is at this temperature. It's so simple when you explain it in that way. So that's all that I want to explain. But then the next level to that might be here's the entire process of how to create your own t-shirt because you're probably spending $10 a t-shirt on Amazon, but you can make your own t-shirt for $2. And here's how you do it. Right. So
Right.
now we're driving into more intricate things. So once they understand the entire process, now they're going to be like, okay, but what do I do when my sewing machine gets stuck? What do I do when I seen this thread count? Does this thread count work good like this thread count? That's when they want your coaching. That's when your time costs. That's when they want closer proximity to you. And that's when you charge more money for that proximity. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. I'm like, girl, you might have a new client. Girl,
Listen, I'm just like off the cusp right now. That's why I'm like talking all over the place. This was not, planned, but I love for people to see how this can relate to them because again, a lot of clients that I talk to feel like they have to go back to school, they have to get another degree, they have to get another certification. And I was that person, right? I needed to get my aesthetic license and I needed to get 26 certifications instead of one or two. Like especially as Black women, we overdo it because we want to feel qualified, right? When it's like you are already qualified. God already qualified you and who you are and what you already know. And if you pay attention to that versus just trying to take on more information and you really hone in on that, you can really change somebody's life in the smallest way and have big impact on people.
Mhm. Yes, yes. So tell the people how they can find you. So no, before you answer that question, what's next? Because I know that you do digital products and you have your coaching program that you're doing. So number one, what's next? And are you growing and scaling that business? Like what is the ultimate goal here?
So, because of my capacity in the past, I kind of did the low ticket to just high ticket, and I was only working with people on the high ticket side of things. Now I'm kind of scaling back, right? So think about like I've only had the appetizer this whole time. So now I'm going back and rebuilding for digital people, like people who want to make money online, the entree and the freebie, right? The bread and the water and all the things that they
Yeah, yeah.
bring. So I'm working backwards now so that I can help more people with this basically. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be doing a challenge probably once a month where I'm going to walk somebody through like creating coming from an idea to creating a full digital product around it and how to start making money off of that digital product. And then over the next couple of months, because football season is starting in September. I want to and I'm flying out every week for a game. So I want something that I can manage. But then by January, I turn 40, and that's when I want to show people how to turn that into a high ticket program. Because at that point, you've gotten the reps in, you've gotten some sales, you've built up your Instagram page, you understand the nature of this business a little bit more. And you also, at this point, have hopefully helped enough people to know how you can solve their problems at a deeper level. Because people are always going to tell you what they need at the next level. And that's what you create your programs around. So that is what I'm going to be doing now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So if someone is interested based off of what you've shared, and they want you as a coach, they love what you have going on and what they've heard, how do they find you?
So you can find me on Instagram on my Life with Shawanna page. Or you can text us. My assistant we have a business line where we can speak directly to people. The number there is 480-526-4451. So they can text us if they have any questions. I can also send them a link to a community that I created at no cost. There is a 7-day challenge inside of the community for people who want to create a digital product. And if somebody is like, I don't even want to create a digital product right now. I just want to get the reps in and learn how to start making money online before building anything. I have resources for that as well. So once you connect with me via text or on social media, now I can pour you into the community and then find what resources are fitting based on where you are in life right now, because that's also important.
So and this is just for the sake of me just saying we're not saying that you're going to make a whole lot of money just from one digital product. And I know we have, yeah, I've used the word $10,000, but it's possible. It's possible based off of you what she just said, putting in the work, putting the reps in. It's like building the muscle. You're not going to see it overnight, but you have to continue to show up. So everything is possible, but you still have to be able to do the work. So I don't want anybody to hear this. Oh, they say I'm gonna make $10,000. I'm like, hey, Shawanna, hey, I'm ready.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So just be ready to do the work and allow your work to increase your pockets and to increase whatever it is that you're looking for. But you have to be able to show up for yourself and do what the coach is saying to do, so that you can reap the benefit and the reward.
And understanding something that Myron says that I love, what's easy on the front end is hard on the back end, and what's hard on the front end is easy on the back end. So the way that I can run this system now that's pretty much automated is because I've done the hard part of building it out for years. I started building out this system when my son went to college because again, I helped more beauty professionals prior to that. So when I decided I was going to help people, because some people are like, this is great. I want to teach people too, but I'm not in the beauty space. Then I started venturing into helping people who were not in the beauty space. And that's when I learned as a strategist, I can just talk to a person and we can do that before we end this if you want. Like you could talk a little bit more about what it is that your product is, and I can talk to you about how to expand on that. But that is, I feel like, a gift that God gave me, that foresight to just be able to talk to somebody and say, let's pull and extract the thing out of you versus you feeling like it's something outside of you and you're not good enough for it yet. And you need to spend more money on more trainings or more degrees or more this or that when your life experience is enough to get you started. And like you said, absolutely, it's not guaranteeing that you're going to make any amount of money. You have to persist in the thing to be able to reap the reward. And we look at people on social media sometimes and we look at followers and we use that as a reason. We use a lot of different things as reasons to why they have achieved the success they have or why we have not, you know?
Yeah.
When none of it is true, it's all an illusion. It's all what you believe. Like I have people with hundreds of thousands and millions of followers that hire me because they don't know how to monetize it. And then I have myself on this page, when I started a month ago or started posting consistently, there was 1,700 followers. It's now over 3,000 followers just because I'm showing up and I'm just posting. And it's going to continue to grow because I know what to do. But for a person who doesn't know me, might feel like I'm an overnight success when my overnight has been 20 years of experience. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Right.
it takes, like you said, getting in and learning it and understanding and being patient with yourself in the process, not comparing yourself or your journey to anyone else's journey, and understanding like the time and the energy you have to pour into this is going to warrant the results that you get out of it. But there is nothing in the world that is more rewarding than helping someone that is lost somewhere when I know that I have the answer to helping them get out of it, right? I
Right.
struggled in my business. I got evicted because I couldn't figure out how to make money. But then I work with students that's like, oh, I worked with you for 2 weeks and I booked out my calendar 2 months. There was no one to come to show me that, but I did the hardest part. So now I can make it easier for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We can all make something easier for somebody else if we just really pay attention to our gifts.
Yes, pay it, and then and you know what, that's God's plan. It's like making sure that whatever that you have, that you actually pour into someone else. We're not created to do things alone. We're here to do
Oh,
things together. When two or more are in agreement, you actually will build faster than anybody else. He said it himself. So it's like if we go and just follow his blueprint and
yes,
stop trying to make everything hard, because we get in our heads like, oh, you don't want to share, you don't want to give your
yes,
ideas, or people going to trust me, there everything has been done already under the sun. People don't understand that. He even said it in the Bible. There's nothing new under the sun. So your
right.
little idea that you have in your head that you think that nobody knows about, if you don't execute it anyway, somebody else is going to do it in 3 months from now. So stop trying to be afraid and just go in, get in the room, learn what you need to learn, share what you need to share, and go ahead and increase your revenue and also your skills and talents. So that's the thing. That's my biggest thing. Is like, hey, if I have it, I have the knowledge to do it. To share, I'm going to share it, and I give a lot of information for free. And then two, it's like that's just my character because I don't like seeing people struggle anyway. But that's just who I am.
But it can be a disservice. And let me tell you
Yeah.
why. And this is, I'm just so big on mindset shifts. So at one point, like I said, I used to talk to people all the time and just give them all this free information. But if I was talking to you and this was just a free call and it wasn't recorded, and you said, what are 5 ways that I can monetize this ebook that I've already created? And I give you 5 ways, you're going to get off. Your son's going to need you. Then another son might need you. Then your husband might need something. And your mom calls you on the, or I'm sorry, a family member calls you on the phone. And then you realize you need to take some food out that's frozen so you could cook dinner tonight. And then finally you try to get back to yourself maybe 2, 3 days later. And you're like, well, damn, what did she even tell me? What are those 5 things? You're not going to remember. So if I put it into a digital product that you can come back to at any time, you're going to pay more attention to that, right? People don't always value free information. And I used to always, I gave out everything for free for years because I'm like, I just want you guys to get this and not struggle the way that I did. But I had to realize I had to save myself,
Yeah.
right? When I got evicted, I was able to overdraw my account to pay for my first ever coach. As I was evicted, I moved over an hour and a half away versus getting another apartment instantly because I wanted to put that money into finally finding a solution for this pain that I was feeling, not understanding how to truly grow this business. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I tell people that all the time. Free is fun, but eventually you're going to get burnt out from it. You're going to be like, I'm tired of people calling me and asking me this. I just told you this last week, girl. Like, you didn't do any of the things that I told you to do. And now you're frustrated. You're not
Yeah,
going to feel that same way if you helped 100 people and you made $1,000 from it. You're going to want to help more.
yeah, yeah.
So, and that is the thing. I'm like, if you have that free content, put it in a YouTube video, put it on some content, but don't always give yourself away to people because the more you give, the less you're going to feel like giving. And that's a disservice because you want to be able to help those people at a higher level.
100%, 100%, and I've always been, again, what Myron said. If they share something, you do, make sure you do it right then. You know,
Yes.
when they share you how to do a post, you do it right there.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I am. This has been good. This has been so good. So um, I just want everybody to understand. She has shared so much knowledge and the things that she has given. But the biggest thing I want everyone to take away that is listening to this podcast is that she was a single mom. Her son's still in school. He's not in trouble. She built several businesses. She had faith that everything that she put in her hands to it was going to happen. But not only that, because she took action. She took action on the things that she wanted. She didn't sit in her misery trying to figure out, oh, I'm going to just stay stuck and woe is me. She took action. Again, purpose and transformation is in the action taking, is in the action taker. So if you're sitting there and you're feeling like you're stuck, you're hearing my voice right now, you're listening to this podcast, and you're feeling like, what is your tomorrow going to look like because you just got evicted, your car note is due, whatever your situation is, still move forward with the thing because you never know what's on the other side of the storm. We still have to move forward because when you stay stuck and when you stay still, nothing happens at the line. So we want to make sure that you actually win. So get tapped in. I hope this podcast has helped you. I know she's helped me, and I'm sure y'all, everybody know that Elevate to Clarity Live in Houston is happening. So I'm trying to get my sister B in the room so she can actually share her knowledge a little bit more. But we're gonna have that sidebar conversation. But
Yes.
anything else before we close out that you would like to share?
You know, something that just stood out to me with what you just said right now that I had to learn myself is to honor where you are. Always honor where you are, no matter what you feel. I have so much empathy, like I said, for single moms, these single moms that, you know, their mind just goes on a tangent. And unfortunately, sometimes they do things to themselves or they do things to their children because they feel like their back is up against the wall. But I realize that oftentimes we just don't honor ourselves in our position and where we are at the moment and cry, purge, get it out. But once that's done, find a solution and then continue to move forward. And just piece by piece, you will build out what you think you're supposed to have. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know, aside from God, how I did this, you know, as a single mom. I never wanted my son to be raised, felt like he was being raised by a single mom. And there's times where I would be in a parent meeting and I'm with all these other parents and I'm one of the younger parents because he started so young and I was so young. And they would be like, okay, so we're going to camp and it's $800 and then they need t-shirts and it's this and it's that. And I'm like, how? How? You know what I mean? But even in it, I'm like, I'm going to be frustrated. I don't know how in the moment, but I'm going to figure it. There's always a solution. But when we stay stuck in the hurt and the unknown, we never find the solution.
Yeah.
So I think that's just such a big thing to just honor where you are, cry, talk to God about it, and then look for the solution directly after that.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Thank you so much for that. So, this has been another great episode of Elevate to Clarity. Remember, all things are possible, but clarity makes it elevate. And I will see you at the top. Take care.